Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Read Aloud. So, today we're going to continue reading the book, The Stories Julian Tells, but we're going to read a new chapter. And this chapter is called My Very Strange Teeth. And I'm really wondering, what is this chapter going to be about? I'm not sure, but I'm sure Julian might encounter some challenge, and he has to try his best to get out of it. But before we begin reading the story, I want to recap what we read, Because of Figs. Remember that chapter? So in Because of Figs, Julian got this fig tree for his birthday. You remember that? And he didn't really understand why he got a fig tree. So his dad said, as the tree grows, you will grow, right? And then after some time, he realized that he wasn't growing, but the fig tree was growing. So he decided to eat the leaves, right? But then he realized after eating the leaves, the fig tree stopped growing. So he decided to talk to the fig tree, and he said, you know what, no longer will I eat your leaves because I want you to grow. And he realized that the fig tree didn't say a word, but the next week, the fig tree's leaves started to grow, and he kept them. And he was happy, and the fig tree was higher than his house, right? And almost as tall as he was almost as tall as his dad, so he was super duper excited about this fig tree. All right, so let's begin reading My Very Strange Teeth, okay? Before I begin, I'm going to introduce you to some vocabulary words, so pay attention. Vocabulary, pliers. It's a tool, with small pincers with long jaws used to bend or cut wire, or handling small things. So it's a tool that people use to pick up small things or bend wires. A thread is a piece of string. Unusual means something that does not happen very often. And prehistoric means very old or out of date. Okay? So we're going to come across these words, and as you come across these words, the vocabulary words will help you to understand what they truly mean. All right, let's begin reading our story. My Very Strange Teeth. My mother and Huey were listening. My father and I were talking. Well, my father said, if you wait long enough, it will fall out. He was talking about my tooth, my right bottom front tooth. How long do I have to wait? I asked. Because I have two right bottom front teeth, one firm, little new one pushing in, and one wiggly old one. I can't say, my father said. Maybe a month, maybe 2 months, maybe less. I don't want to wait, I said. I want one tooth there, and I don't want to wait 2 months. So it seems like Julian is a little impatient. He just wants this tooth out and not have to worry about it. All right, said my father. I'll take care of it. He jumped out of his chair and ran out the door to the garage. He was back in a minute, carrying something, a pair of pliers. Your tooth is a little loose already, my father said. So I'll just put the pliers in your mouth for a second twist, and the tooth will come out. You won't feel a thing. Oh my gosh, a tool to pull out his tooth? I don't know about this. What do you think? A little frightening, huh? Let's continue to read. I won't feel a thing. I looked at the pliers, huge black-handled pliers with a long, pointed tip. I thought I would feel a thing. I thought it would hurt. Me too. Shall I? Said my dad. He raised the pliers toward my mouth. No! I said, not that way. Don't you know any other way to take out a tooth? So Julian is fearful. He's like, I don't know about this pliers, Dad. Maybe there's another way to solve this problem. Well, he answered, when I was a boy, the main way was with a pair of pliers. But there was another way. Just you wait. He jumped up again and ran to the closet. When he came back, he had a spool of black thread. Thread didn't look as painful as pliers. I want to jot here. And I'm going to jot that Julian is very fearful because when he saw what a pliers looked like, He did not want his dad to pull out his tooth with that tool, right? And he said, Dad, there's another way. Can you figure it out? So now Dad decides to get a spool of thread. Black thread. Thread didn't look as painful as pliers. This is a simple way, my father said. Just let me tie this thread around your old tooth. So instead of using the pliers, Dad said, let's use a piece of thread. I'm going to tie it around your tooth. Let's see what Dad thinks. All right, I said. Very carefully, my father tied the end of the thread around my old tooth. That didn't hurt. Now, my father said, stand here by the door. I stood by the kitchen door and my father tied the other end of the thread to the doorknob. Now what? I said. So you could imagine the thread being in his mouth? Yeah, I could imagine that. I'm not sure if I would like that strategy. Now, my father said, you just close your eyes. What are you going to do? I asked. I wasn't going to close my eyes when I didn't know what was happening. Me either. So, let me go back to my NOPQ chart. And I want us to focus on thinking about what the character really wants. What does Julian really want right now? Yes, he wants his tooth out. And guess what? The strategies or the ways his dad is trying to pull out his tooth might not be the best one Julian agrees on. But let's see. This is a good method from the old days. So Dad grew up this way and know this way of pulling out his teeth. But let's see what happens. My father said, you close your eyes. Then, very suddenly, I shoved the kitchen door shut. Snap! The thread pulls the tooth right out. I looked at the kitchen door. It was a lot bigger than I was. About 20 million times bigger than my tooth. Won't it hurt? Hurt? I was really afraid I might lose my whole head with the tooth. Oh, just a little, my father said. Just for a second. No thanks, I said. Please take this thread off my tooth. All right then, my father shrugged his shoulders and took the string off my tooth. Don't you know another way? So Dad tried once. He tried a second strategy, and Julian was not having it. He said, I'm not about this. So he's now asking his dad, do you have another way, Dad, of pulling out my tooth? Now I want you to think, as a reader, and you know as a reader we make a lot of predictions about what will happen next. I want you to think, what do you think is going to happen next? Because we're going to pause here for a second. And tomorrow we're going to read the next chapter. But I want you to think in your mind, based on what has happened in the story so far, and based on the problem Julian has encountered in this chapter, what do you think will happen next? Do you think Dad will come up with a new strategy? Do you think that Julian would, you know what, even though he didn't agree to doing this, pulling of the teeth out using the thread, he'll probably change his mind and agree with it? Think about it, okay? And tomorrow when we come again for more read aloud, we're going to discuss it, all right? Have a good day, boys and girls.